I still remember the quiet, not the peaceful kind. The kind that presses down on you when the house is too still for too long. The kind that hums in the air when you realize no one's going to call today. And maybe not tomorrow either. After I turned 60, the silence settled in like an old coat. Comfortable at first, then heavy, then suffocating. For most of my life, I'd been surrounded by people, raising kids, going to work, attending family gatherings. But retirement brought an unexpected stillness. My kids had their own lives, friends were busy or had moved away, and suddenly, days blurred together in a kind of gray. I didn't expect to feel so invisible. It wasn't depression exactly, more like floating just outside of life, watching it go on without me. It started subtly. I stopped making plans. Then I stopped answering calls. Even grocery store trips felt like too much. And here's the thing no one tells you. Loneliness doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers, tells you it's too late to change, that no one really wants to hear from you, that this is just what getting old feels like. But that's a lie, and I had to learn that the hard way. One afternoon, I sat watching the dust float in the light coming through the blinds, and I thought, this can't be it. I had decades of stories, lessons, love, and laughter behind me. Surely that counted for something. That moment, as small as it sounds, was a turning point. I decided to treat loneliness not as a life sentence, but as a signal, a message that I needed connection, not just with others, but with myself. So I started small. I joined a local walking group for seniors. The first time I showed up, I stood at the edge, nervous and unsure. But someone smiled, introduced themselves, and suddenly, I wasn't invisible anymore. That weekly walk became my anchor. It wasn't just about exercise. It was about being seen, heard, and welcomed. Then I picked up the phone, called an old friend I hadn't spoken to in years. We talked for over an hour, and by the end, we'd made plans to meet up. That conversation reminded me that people weren't avoiding me. I had simply stopped reaching out. The connections were still there, just waiting to be watered again. I also began volunteering at the local library. I shelved books, helped with the children's reading program, and even led a workshop about journaling your life stories. Sharing my memories, good and bad, made me feel useful again. Purpose returned in ways I hadn't expected. I realized that loneliness often stems from a loss of purpose, just as much as a loss of companionship. And let me tell you something important. Technology became my unexpected friend. I know many of us over 60 feel intimidated by smartphones and social media, but learning to use Zoom, joining Facebook groups for older adults, even watching YouTube videos like this one, it all helped me feel part of something again. There's a whole world online for seniors who feel disconnected. You're not too old to start. You're not too old to connect. You're just getting seasoned. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still quiet days, but they no longer feel empty because I filled them with people, purpose, and presence. I stopped measuring my value by how many visitors I had or how full my calendar was. I started asking, what brings me joy today? Some days it's a cup of tea and a crossword puzzle. Other days it's mentoring a teenager who reminds me of myself at that age. If you're over 60 and feeling alone, I want you to know your story isn't over. It's just turning a page. You have so much to give. So much to say, and the world still needs your wisdom. Loneliness doesn't make you broken. It makes you human, and humans are wired for connection. I encourage you, step out, even if it's just a little. Call someone, join a group, volunteer, or just say hello to the neighbor you usually wave at from afar. The first step is the hardest, but it gets easier. I promise. And if no one else has told you this today, I see you. I hear you. You matter. So stay strong, my friend. The best chapters may still be ahead.